Thank you very much, President Bonardi. And listening to your presentation, I was thinking about how global the system of Chamber of Commerce of Italy are in the world, and it is so global that you are even interconnected with the Chamber of Commerce of Bergamo, which is a very good description. It's not the Chamber of Commerce of Bergamo is a minor entity, it's a very important entity, but thank you very much for this gesture of attaching me to my roots. President Bonardi, Ambassador Mugoyer, Your Excellency, Ambassador Lu, dear friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here, and I would like to thank you for organizing this lunch for me and for my delegation on the occasion of my first visit to Singapore as Italian Foreign Minister. I'm most grateful to this chamber and to the European Chamber of Commerce in Singapore. It is an opportunity to share some thoughts, as President Bonardi has started to do. This visit concludes a three-stage mission that also took me to India and Vietnam. And in my in-depth talks with President Tony Tan, Prime Minister Lee Hsien-loong, Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam, Foreign Minister Shanmugam, and Minister of Defense Nguyen Den Han, great friendship and strong interest in Italy have been the mainstay. I wish to share with you some assessment that I've drawn from these meetings. They have confirmed to me that Italy and Europe can rely on the engagement of Singapore and on its responsible leadership and policies to boost our financial stability and sustainable growth. For my part, I have tried to convey, in the best possible way, the clear message that Singapore can also count on Italy's support and help in achieving a free trade agreement with the European Union. Singapore could soon become Europe's first ASEAN trade partner to sign an FTA. Italy would be forthcoming in this respect because we are both trading nations with open economies, occupying complementary geostrategic positions. The global recession has hit world trade flows very hard, it is true. But yet, we know that trade spurs growth, and so we oppose, in a convinced way, we oppose protectionism of any possible sort. On a more general basis, Italy and Singapore have expressed their willingness to cooperate for a more stable and balanced global economic governance. To this end, building upon its distinguished multilateral experience, Singapore can play an important role. And indeed, this country is one of the so-called linchpin states, those states that are becoming increasingly pivotal in the multilateral system. Its leadership role within the Global Governance Group, the so-called 3G, at the United Nations, is highly appreciated, as it can help enhance cooperation by bridging the divide between the G20 and other international and regional organizations and large groups like the G77. In our vision, each country should act as a stakeholder. And this is a very important principle, to give everyone, especially countries who feel their responsibility and to act responsibly on the international arena, to recognize them as a partner for the positive advancement of the international economy. No country should stand back merely as an onlooker. Voice, influence, and responsibility must go together. This is a key message that we all should convey within the G20 and in the Global Governance Group, a message all the more impelling since the global rebalancing is unavoidable. Economic power is becoming even more diffuse. Within 2 decades, nearly 60% of the world's GDP is projected to come from a wider array of emerging economies, well beyond the so-called BRIC countries, well beyond them. The vibrant Asian economies are leading this process, and in the Asia-Pacific region, 54% of the world GDP, 44% of world trade, and 60% of global growth are generated. It comes therefore as no surprise that in 2011, despite the economic downturn, Italian exports to this region increased by about 20%. And I'm sure that the role of the Chamber of Commerce has been an important engine, an important player to obtain this result. Italy feels, therefore, the imperative need for more Asia, for more integrated political and economic relations between Europe and Asia, and Italy is viewing its relationship with Asia with renewed attention. The Asian continent, not just its biggest countries, should become central in the Italian foreign policy. We are confident that this continent can look to Europe and to Italy to develop strategies that so far it has sought in other partners. We need to foster dialogue and increase awareness of the great opportunities opening up for both of us in the sector of innovation, trade, and economic integration. On my return to Rome, I will be hosting an event that will take place for the first time on 22nd and 23rd of March, the ASEAN Awareness Forum, to which all ASEAN partners, including Singapore, are invited. And I discussed extensively this point with the Prime Minister, the President, the Foreign Minister, and I obtained already the anticipation that there will be a high-level presence from Singapore to this meeting. We wish to offer Italian companies, business associations and institutions a wide and exhaustive framework for investment and cooperation prospects in all the ASEAN region and all the ASEAN markets. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that in Europe, and especially in the Eurozone, the problem of strengthening fiscal discipline and our common institutions has come to the fore. Therefore, I seize the opportunity of my visit to explain to the Singaporean leadership that Italy is making very important steps to protect the euro and defend the irreversible nature of the European integration. I have recalled the impressive number of structural reforms and liberalization measures adopted by the Italian government and welcomed by foreign governments, by foreign financial institutions, and by international observers. Of the measures which have been adopted up to now and in force since January the 1st, the pensions reform will produce savings of 7.6 billion euros in 2014, rising to almost 22 billion in 2020. In 2013, Italy will balance its budget and achieve a primary surplus of 5.5% of GDP, an effort without equal amongst European Union member states. The Parliament also voted last December to include the balanced budget rule in the Constitution. The final approvals will be obtained this spring. Let me also stress that apart from high public debt, Italy has no major macroeconomic imbalances, no major bubbles in the house market, no major external deficit. We have low household debt and a sounding banking system. The government's action is now aimed at fostering growth, at improving the business environment, at increasing the overall flexibility of the labor market, enhancing liberalization and consumer protection, developing infrastructure, and reducing administrative costs. Many opportunities, I believe, are opening up in Italy for Singapore's business community. I would like to mention just a few examples. The liberalization in the energy market and in the transport sector, the privatization of local utilities, the significant reforms made to increase competition and strengthen consumer protection in the financial sector, the drastic simplification of the administrative burden for small and medium-sized enterprise and for new investment. Negotiations on the labor market reform are also ongoing between the government and labor unions. Ladies and gentlemen, Italy trusts Singapore and Italian companies are investing in this economy. An Italian pharmaceutical company, for example, has recently made a significant investment here with a vision of reaching the wider Asian markets. We should build together a fast and secure two-way high road so that investment from Singapore to Italy might also increase. GIC and Temasek are crucial today between the leadership of these two funds and the CEO of Italy's Cassa Depositi and Prestiti Fund, which is here today with his head and with the heads of other prominent Italian companies. I also believe it's of great importance the increased cooperation between our small and medium enterprises. I have proposed a new agreement to the Singaporean authorities in this area, and I'm looking forward to the ratification of the additional protocol to the standing bilateral agreement for the avoidance of double taxation. In Singapore, Italy can also rely on a very active and successful Italian community, that is most of you. It is indeed very well represented here today. Thank you for coming and exchanging some views with us. Within A-Star, where the most advanced scientific research takes place, several Italian scientists are already operating with success. They number nearly 50 altogether in Singapore. We have a very promising foundation upon which to build and enhance long-lasting, mutually productive relationship. Yesterday, we signed the executive program for bilateral cooperation in culture, science, and technology over the next 4 years. The recent air show in Singapore included a visible and high-profile presence of the Italian air and defense industry. We recently signed an important memorandum of understanding on global cooperation in the defense field. And as a practical result of our defense cooperation, which is not cooperation only in written words on paper and memorandum of understanding, but a cooperation in deeds, we have seen with a lot of satisfaction the conclusion of the contract for providing new trainers to the Singapore Air Force, that is to say the Air Macchi trainer. And we are ready to welcome Singaporean pilots for the training in Italy, which will take place in Lecce. We welcome very much this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, Italy and Singapore will celebrate in 2015 the 50th anniversary of the establishment of their diplomatic relations. This anniversary will coincide with Expo 2015 in Milan, where we will very much welcome a proactive and high-profile Singaporean presence. It is up to all of us to draw the full benefits from this renewed, enhanced environment of friendship and cooperation. Thank you very much.